All right, guys. Today we're here with Miss Amy Keifenheim.
Yes, sir.
Or did I mispronounce
Nope,
that?
that's perfect.
Awesome. So you're the director of development for Northeast Region Boys and Girls Club of Northeast or North Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
That's a mouthful there,
Yes,
too.
most definitely.
So thank you for coming here to be with us today. And I've been wanting to try to find people who are invested in the youth of our community.
Mm-hmm.
And what better place to start than with the Boys and Girls Club?
Yes, most definitely. Thanks, Ryan, for having me. Yes, Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Louisiana is a region, one of three, that the North Louisiana entity covers. So my clubs are West Monroe, Bastrop. West Monroe is actually the oldest Boys and Girls Club in the state of Louisiana. It was started in 1962, and our building was built in 1972, and it was built specifically to be a Boys and Girls Club.
So can you give us a little history on the Boys and Girls Club, kind of how it came to be, and what it is today? What is it? What is the purpose for today?
So all of the Boys and Girls Clubs are chartered through Boys and Girls Clubs of America. The original start out and plan was a fun place for kids to go for the summer after school, which we've continued with that. Today is really just to share what we do and that we are here in the community. The communities where we operate know we're here, but the community outside of those areas don't necessarily know that we have Boys and Girls Clubs operating in these three cities.
So Monroe, West Monroe, and Bastrop, is that correct?
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
So what is all three of them, do they all have the same programs? What kind of programs do you guys offer?
That's one of the pluses of being a national organization. So Boys and Girls Club of America provides structured programs. Like we have names like Power Hour, Triple Play. Those programs are all designed by the full national group, and then handed down and available for all the different chapters to use. So we all implement the same types of programs in our clubs. Based on the space where we're at, it might be a little bit different when you walk into West Monroe versus Monroe, because West Monroe is, of course, a large campus. And Monroe, we actually operate out of one of the Monroe City's recreation centers on Powell Avenue. So we make it work based on where we're at. So the kids come in after school. So we do after-school program at these units. The school buses drop them off. So we have a bus from West Monroe, we have Riser Middle, and Linwell. I was trying to think what the third one was. Monroe, I don't remember what the school bus is that's there on Powell Avenue that drops off. We actually have some kids that walk to Powell Recreation Center as well. So they come in, they run off some energy. Then they get to sit down after 20, 30 minutes of running off some energy and sit down and do Power Hour, which is either their homework that they're bringing, or we have extra enrichment ready for them, something that makes them use their brain a little bit for a little while, settle down then from running off the energy. And then we go into like Triple Play, which is like they can pick an activity in the gym. We have a game room that actually has like the video game systems and such,
Sure.
Or Miss Pam always has some kind of fun game for them to play, board game and stuff. We have arts and crafts, too. So for those kids that are the creative side, Miss Alex has the arts and crafts room, always ready for whatever they want to do also.
So how is the Boys and Girls Club funded?
So we are part of a national organization, but most of our funding comes from what I do in the community and what my board of directors does. We have a major fundraiser each year for the Northeast region. It's a golf tournament, the Dr. John Shepherd Classic. We hold it at the end of May, early June, however it falls. It's either the last weekend of May or the first weekend in June, however it falls in the Frenchman's calendar. It's a wonderful organization. My board does an amazing job at that. So raising funds that way, personal contributions. We do get some money from national foundations and such, but it's very minimal in the overall picture.
Nowhere near the support that you need to.
No, it's we are definitely almost 100% supported by the community where we work.
Now, you mentioned your board. Is the board over all three, or do you have individual boards for the three individual?
I have one official board for the entire region, but I have an advisory board for my Bastrop unit. It's my newest one. We are going into our second year in Bastrop, and so that advisory board helped. That was the community that wanted us there. They came to us and said, "We want a Boys and Girls Club here." So they hit the ground running and helped get the community support we needed to get off the ground in Bastrop.
So with Bastrop being new, kind of starting from the ground up with it, you would often think that what is applicable in one area may not be exactly applicable in another area. Is that true for how the Boys and Girls Clubs for community-based are they all run a little different.
They all do run a little bit different. And again, it's mainly based on the location where we're operating. So in West Monroe, we have our own building that we own. It's the only building we own in North Louisiana. Monroe, we're operating as a co-op agreement with Monroe City and the Recreation Center. And in Bastrop, we're actually in the gymnasium of a church in Bastrop. So the facility where we operate dictates a lot of how we function and how many kids we can serve also.
Sure.
So with West Monroe being a larger building, we could, of course, have more kids at that one. Monroe, we can max it out, and we have. And Bastrop, since we're new, we're getting off the ground. We're building. We've had a small group that we're going to eventually get larger, and we'll probably outgrow the space we're in, and we'll have to look for a secondary location.
How receptive is the community to be able to help you guys come in, launch, and grow?
Right off the bat, it's amazing because we base communities coming to us. We don't typically go into a community and say we're coming to you guys. We want a community who's invested.
Right.
And so once they're invested, then we're there.
Which makes a huge difference because, I mean, if you got the community support behind you and you're locking arms with the community, great things can happen.
Exactly, 100%. Now, once we get there, it takes a little bit work on our part getting the kids there. Going to the schools, going to the chamber events, making sure everybody knows we're there to keep the support coming as well.
Now, I know that, you can't be all things to all people all the time and service every single school to have a bus route going to it. But what if a parent or an organization was to help transport kids to you guys from other schools for after school care? Is that something that is feasible for that to happen, or is it just strictly based upon these schools for after school care?
No, it's definitely available and feasible for us to bring on as long as we have the capacity to bring the kids in. So each program, each summer, we plan then for the upcoming school year as far as workers. So we have youth development professionals who are the kids we hire. They're typically college students who work for us part-time, and that's who helps us manage with the kids. So we have 1 per 7 to 10 kids is our typical ratio, or what we would love to have in most cases. So we gear up for that with the anticipation of this was our registration we had when school ended last year, and we want to grow by this percentage. So we're going to add 2 or 3 more, and we're going to hit the pavement at the schools and get more kids there, or a new, like you said, a new group coming to us. Preparing for that.
So what does that after school care look like? You mentioned, so we'll have in most cases a bus drop the kids off from these schools.
Yes.
They get in, they're able to kind of burn off some of that energy sitting in the classroom all day. Power hour comes in, they're able to do homework if they have it. If not, there's some enrichment activities that they can do. What happens after that? What kind of time frame are y'all open for after school care?
We do not close until 6:45 for after school care. So we are there for an extended amount of time versus some other places. So the kids typically show up about 2:45, 2:50 when the first bus comes. Eventually we'll have all 3 buses there by 3 o'clock, 3:10. Some kids actually walk to us that are in the neighborhood that maybe just don't ride the bus home. We actually have some older kids who just love coming back to the club who walk to us, who are actually freshmen in high school. They come and we actually put them in a little bit more adult role, help us do some things around the club and stuff. So, so they get to come in, they get their homework done, they get a snack as soon as they get in. When they're running off we provide a healthy nutritional snack. And then also at West Monroe, they get a meal to go home with.
Okay.
So they get dinner actually with us at West Monroe. Monroe, we don't quite have all that in yet. We do have the snack available, but we don't have a full meal yet. So we actually work with the school system on the meal providing. Also, that's a federal program. So we work a lot and we partner a lot with other community groups like the school board. I just went blank on the other one. Bastrop Parish School Board, Monroe City Schools. Those we have to partner with them to be successful. And so a lot of our food programming comes from those partnerships.
With Monroe City, you're not in your own space. Does that have some of the impact on why you're not able to be able to provide the food source for the meal?
We just haven't gotten there yet because it's fairly new too. It's going into its 3rd or 4th year.
Okay.
So we're working on that relationship with the school board for Monroe City because they are a different entity. It's going to come.
Sure.
It's not the space. The space we do have to coordinate with the city as far as what they have programmed coming into. So if they have someone that's rented an area or something like that, we have to make sure that that's available for however the rental program is gone. But we're in about 3 different rooms in Powell Avenue Recreation Center. So that allows us to serve about 20 to 25 kids at the most in that area.
You mentioned a relationship. How important is it to have that relationship with the parents as well through this program?
Most definitely. Our parents make us successful too. With us, what we've implemented the clubs with the kids. So any kind of emotional relationship type situations. So we teach the kids how to play with each other if they aren't getting along or something like that. Our YDPs are there to help them understand how to deal with their feelings and how to work with the other kids and play, and everybody's in a happy place. Parents implementing the same when the kids leave our doors is 100% required for us to be able to be successful with that kid to be productive and flourish throughout their life.
So how does that interaction with the parents take place? Is it something that the parents are going to have to be proactive about, or do y'all schedule anything to be intentional with the parents on the programs that you guys are offering and what their kids are involved in when they're with you guys?
So each parent has to fill out an application for their child every season, so after school or summer. And the program and what we're offering and the timelines and all that is completely communicated with them before it starts. And then also as they come in, because they come in and check their kids out every day when they come to get them. So if there's been a hiccup that day, the unit director will pull them to the side and let them know what happened, just so that they're aware of what's happened while the child has been with us. And then they can act on it when they get home and follow through at home as well. But yeah, there's definitely one-on-one conversations with parents pretty much daily as they're coming in to pick their kid up, because they have to sign them out every day. So they have to get out of their car and come in and say hi to everybody and all that wonderful stuff.
With I know you've only been with them for close to quite a year, so your knowledge base on the impact that this program has on our youth may be small. But during your time there, can you give us some examples of where you've been able to see the Boys and Girls Club have a major impact in a kid's life?
So I'll use one of our older kids at the Western Road Club. Just the fact of the matter that he's a freshman in high school this year. He was nervous about being a freshman in high school, and he came to.
I can imagine, that's a big school.
It is, and he came to us at the end of school last year and asked if he could come back because he knew age-wise he didn't feel it fit our age demographic of what we serve.
And what is the age demographic?
Typically 1st through 8th grade.
Okay.
Is who we have, and they're divided by age group. So they're grouped every day by their age group in their class.
So you try to keep same age together
Yes.
so that things can mesh probably a little bit better.
100%.
Okay.
We keep the younger kids a little bit further away from the older kids and that kind of thing. And they rotate the same way. But yeah, so he came to the unit director and asked if he could still come every day whenever he could come after his schoolwork and whatnot. And the fact of the matter that he wants to come to the club because it is the safe and happy place that he's been coming to for the past 5 or 6 years. That means we're doing our job. Because he wants to come back to this environment, even though he's a freshman in high school. And he's, typically when they're that age, we're like, they're going to get a little bit too big for their britches for us, and we won't see them. But he's been exactly the example that I use with everybody because he wants to be with us. He comes in and says hi to everybody. He tells us all about his day. He loves the field trips because we do take them on field trips to ULM games. We went to a basketball game last season. We're headed to a football game in about 2 weeks.
Oh, really? So are these field trips outside of the normal hours of y'all's operation?
Yes, they have to get a permission slip signed by their parents. We coordinate transportation, and that's where our partnership with the school board comes in handy.
Sure.
So we coordinate a bus after hours. This one will be on a Saturday for the football game coming up. And the basketball game was actually in the evening during the week. And then ULM's a great partner as well to allow us to bring the kids that we'll be taking them on voucher tickets for the football game. We had a great sponsor that covered the basketball game, but they've actually vouchered us to be able to bring the kids to the game this time.
That's fantastic. How many of these kids that y'all are bringing to these type of events would probably never have an opportunity to go to an event like this?
I'd say at least 75% have never been to one.
Wow.
And that was evident when we went to basketball. walking in the Fant Unique Coliseum. We had two girls that had just started playing middle school basketball, and I wanted to make sure they got there.
Sure.
And of course, they were being a little bit adult, and they're like, I've seen this before. And I'm like, you could tell from their faces they hadn't, the way they were looking around Fant when we walked in. So I'm excited for the football game, too, because I know a lot of them have never been to Malone. So to see the scale of what ULM has just in their backyard. So.
And our football team is doing great so
Yes,
far this
they
year,
are.
so it ought to be a great game. Tell me a little bit about, well, before I get into that, when the kids are out of school, so on fall break or spring break, what kind of involvement do you guys have? Do y'all shut down with the school calendar or?
Yes, we do right now. We shut down with the school calendar. That kind of has flowed since COVID. There are some things that we follow now that haven't changed back yet, that we just haven't gotten the resources to be able to change back to that yet. I do hope we can be open because I understand from the parental perspective that that's
hard.
really the time when the parents really need the kids to come to us. But right now we don't have that in place. Now summertime, we're open from June is our first session in summer, and then July is our second session. Our summer session is probably the most affordable summer you can possibly find in this area. They come to us, can come from 7:30 to 5:30. They have all the same programs we do in after school. So we make sure they have school enrichment, arts and crafts, games, fun activities. And then we also throw in extra field trips. Go to the zoo, go to the splash pad there. We have the ice cream truck comes every other week, and they visit us in the parking lot. We have a First Responders Day where the kids get to see our first responders there at the club. They bring the cool SWAT vehicles and stuff,
Right.
and they build those relationships. And we have a pool at the West Monroe unit, which is where we host summer. And so they get to swim for an hour every day, too, during those units.
During that time, during the summer units or the programs that you guys have, are those fee-based?
Yes, they are. Parents do have to pay. This last summer was $334, covered the entire summer.
What if a parent doesn't have the money to be able to pay?
We
Are
actually
there some options for them?
we don't do scholarships necessarily, but we do work out payment programs. So if they can't pay the whole $334, they've got time to pay as long as throughout the summer, so they can pay. They sit with our unit director who works it out with them individually.
Okay.
Whatever they say they can pay every week or two, then they can, and those kids can come because we know those kids need to be with us.
Sure.
So we're going to go above and beyond. We do take scholarships from the community to sponsor a summer co-kid. We'll run that usually in May timeframe, that campaign. So sponsor a summer kid. And so the community can help us defray some of that.
In the West Monroe unit that you have, how do you refer to them? Clubs or?
Yep, they're clubs. We refer to them by their location.
Okay. So in the West Monroe location, what is the active number of participants during the school time? How many kids do you guys have right now?
Right now, we're servicing 57 kids at the West Monroe Club.
How many are you able to serve? Is that are you pretty much maxed out?
We could go well over 100.
Wow.
And we have before. We're still trying to build that number back up. You know, COVID did a number on a lot of things in this world.
Yeah, so you guys are still suffering a little bit from that.
A little bit, yes, sir.
What do you think it would take to build that number back up within the community?
Actually, I think we could sit down and do a little bit more as far as busing in from other schools because transportation's a major factor, which it is for everybody. There are some other great programs in our area of where we're located. So we're in West Monroe in what everyone would refer to as Baucomville.
Right.
So there's a few good ministry-based programs also. So we have a little bit of competition that has come about. But I definitely think we could bring in more kids from other schools, probably, from different locations. And it's just a matter of sitting down and getting that.
Now, is that,
happen.
and I may have already asked this question, so I apologize if I have, is after school care, is that fee-based as well?
It is, but it's extremely affordable. It's
And when you say-
$25 a kid for the semester.
For the semester?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's definitely affordable. To
Most
be able to
definitely, yes.
And obviously the $25 a semester, I mean, you guys can't survive on that.
Exactly.
So fundraising is a key. And you said one of your biggest events is what?
So we do a golf tournament. That's our biggest fundraiser of the year for the Northeast region. Right now, we've kicked off Boys and Girls Club football and cheerleading. It's not a huge fundraiser. We started that. We had some board members that found a need in the community where a elementary-based football program was needed, where the kids could come and have a fun and safe experience in team sports. So they asked the board to approve creating it. So we're in year 4 now.
Okay.
We've got the biggest football registration that we've ever had, 372 kids playing with us.
Wow.
And it's in the West Monroe Elementary and West Washita Elementary, Washita Parish School System based.
Okay.
So that's somewhat of a fundraiser for us. We do make a little money off of it, not a huge, because it costs a lot to have referees out there, uniforms and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great community-based activity that we are happy to put on and to sponsor. I've got 2 board members that work their tails off for it. It's their baby. And but that is a fundraiser. We do apply for grants all over. We just actually, Entergy just graciously awarded us a $10,000 foundation grant from their Entergy Foundation.
Oh, wow.
So we just got one from Cadence Bank as well and First Horizons Bank. And then we've been a recipient of the Taco Bell and Power Foundation. So those types of things also help. They're not necessarily fundraisers that we're in the community getting money from them, but it's just a way for us to help our local, because to get those, you definitely have to have the local branches behind you. And the local support as well to help promote you through those foundation allocations. So we're a recipient of the Living Well Foundation. We received a significant grant from them last year and another one this year. So people that see we're doing good work are willing to support us.
Speaking to the parents, to give them the information that can show the need for their kid to be plugged into something. Speak to those parents. What would you want the parents to know about your organization, how it can help their kids, and how they could also be an advocate for you, maybe within their school that doesn't have an avenue to get kids there. What would you say to those parents?
I would say if your child needs a place to come after school, we're not just a homework place. These kids learn to have fun with each other. They learn to work with each other because, kids are all completely different personalities. So they learn when one's not having a great day, how to handle that and how to still play with their friends that are there and still be productive. They come out with a great feeling every day for the most part. Even if they've had a not so great day, we're going to make sure they leave feeling good. So if you need a place or want a place where your kids see every different walk of life as well, Boys and Girls Club, we have them all. It's a wonderful, diverse environment where these YDPs are program developers. They care for these kids. Everyone that walks through that door. Those kids are their babies for 4 hours, basically, every day. They are going to make sure they feel loved, they feel recognized, and they feel understood. So if they're having a challenge, somebody's going to take them to the side and they're going to make sure that they know that they're having a good day and that someone's listening to them and they're heard. And it's a place they have fun. They have different activities that maybe mom and dad don't have time to be able to do with them or take them places. We try to add on just out to get them outside of the club as much as we possibly can too. It's a little bit lagniappe. They're going to also learn what they like to eat and what they don't like to eat too, because we have one meal and that's it for the day. So if it's got green vegetables, they have green vegetables that day. But yeah, so if there's a way, if their school isn't servicing us currently, I would love for them to contact us at the Evergreen unit, the West Monroe unit, just that one, or even the Monroe one, so that we can get a tally of what schools definitely have the kids in need that need to come to us after school, that have 2 parents working. And being dropped off for the bus by themselves at home isn't really what you want your kids to be able to do. You want them to interact with other kids and to have fun after school and not. I was the kid that stayed home after school by myself when I was younger, and I definitely would have had a whole lot more fun had the Boys and Girls Club been a Boys and Girls Club back in the day.
Right. you had hit on the diversity within the kids, and I've seen that when you intermix diversity with kids, they don't see the diversity like you and I see
Exactly.
it. They see how much fun we're going to be able to have. I love the idea of kids getting together to where they're just not sit there with their bent necks on a device nonstop. They learn how to play. They're learning how to communicate with one another, not by just trying to text everything. I mean, it kind of cracks me up sometimes seeing, especially our teenagers. I mean, they're sitting right next to one another and not talking, but they're texting back and forth. They're sending messages back and forth. I think it's great for our community. Now, so Bastrop has been up and running, you said, just 2 years?
Yes, we're starting our second school year this year.
Second school year. What kind of growth do you see happening in the Bastrop community?
Oh, Bastrop could be so much larger. I definitely see, maybe not this school year, but by next school year, we have a new area, because it will require us to have a new facility, a new partnership, somewhere maybe in Morehouse Parish schools, helping with after school in the school, because we can do that. That's one of the things with Boys and Girls Clubs. We can bring our program anywhere. We have the programs in place. We just need the space. And we prefer to partner with people for the space so that we don't have to own the building.
Sure.
So Morehouse...
Which allows you to put the cost directly where it needs in the kids and not into a facility structure.
Exactly, because those facilities can be costly.
They can.
So going into Morehouse Parish schools would be amazing to be able to do after school programming with them.
Do you see that being an option in the near future?
I do know that the talks are happening.
Good.
So definitely, because Morehouse Parish is definitely a place for Boys and Girls Clubs needs to be. Monroe is a place where Boys and Girls Clubs needs to be, and we need to grow. They used to have one a long time ago, because people that has been out of service for quite some time. So we're bringing it back, just in a different location and with a different agreements and such.
How many kids do you feel like you can service?
Typically going to service 15 to 20 kids.
15 to 20 kids.
In the first year.
But we're talking about investing in their lives, right?
Right.
These are kids more than likely that are having to go home in a place to where they're not getting really any enrichment at that point.
Right.
But also at the same time, so I've got young kids. I got one in middle school and I got one in elementary. How much more enjoyable would it be that when the kids finally do come home, the homework is done, they've had time to kind of run off all their energy,
right.
And we can have family time.
Yep. Well, and a lot of the kids coming to the Boys and Girls Club is the happy place for them after school. We're definitely in the lower socioeconomic areas. So for them, coming to us is the safety place in the areas where we provide Boys and Girls Clubs. And so, but yeah, their homework's done, their snacks are done. Some of them are walking in with supper already, so you don't have to worry even about dinner for the evening for them. And you guys can just sit around, be a family, talk about their day, talk about what they're wanting to do tomorrow, because they've already done all the work with us here at the Boys and Girls Club.
I was looking at the website before we sat down to do this, and the education that you guys have the opportunity to bring to people, and the online access that they can do above and beyond what you guys offer really kind of blew my mind. You know, I've heard of the Boys and Girls Club, and my apologies if this is offensive in any way, but I just kind of compare y'all to the YMCA.
Yes.
Just kind of look at that, and not trying to disparage anybody, but I just didn't know.
Very similar.
I mean, but it kind of, I just thought of babysitting service. I mean, overall, when I'm thinking just a place for the kids to go, but you guys are purposeful with pouring into these kids. There's STEM activities to be able to pour into these kids. Quality education you guys are being able to offer outside of what they're getting. But the thing that I really liked about it is it's not positioned as education, like, oh, I got to sit down and do something else. It's like fun stuff.
Yes, it's definitely, because kids need to be excited about it.
Sure.
Especially when they're out of school. So one of the great things about our organization, because we do have multiple regions, we all work together. So our unit directors all work together. Most of them are college students. One of them, I know for a fact, he's an engineering student. He loves the STEM stuff. He is the most creative STEM unit director we have. So when he's got an idea, he shares it across all of the units so that all of the units can share and can do the same thing in their clubs or have a fun activity. So if the one that's a kinesiology major isn't up to speed on STEM and engineering type stuff, they're sharing. The kinesiology major can share the game that he's going to play with the kids with the STEM engineer expert, and they share across the board. And that's one good thing about being a part of a national organization as well.
Right.
MyFuture.net is where our workers, our employees at Boys and Girls Club can share their programs that have worked for them. And then it can be implemented across all of the units across the country. So yeah, that's one of the perks about being a national organization for sure, because it's already been tried and tested and then being implemented across the whole thing.
From a community standpoint, what are some of the biggest needs, or if you had to say, my wish for the community is X, what would that be? What is the biggest thing the community can do to pour into the Boys and Girls Club practically?
I would love for our community to come and see, and we're open to tours anytime, to see the kids and to hear the kids in the Boys and Girls Clubs, and to see how happy they are, and to see what their investment gives to those kids. To meet our freshman in high school who just wants to come back and help us at the West Monroe unit, just because he wants to be around us, and to see that that's what the Boys and Girls Club does. We have one young man who's a year-round student with us. He's a 5th grader this year. He got into running this year, and he's been going to Junior Olympics. He went to the Junior Olympics this past summer.
Wow.
But he comes to the club. He is a club kid through and through, and he's excelled in running, so he does that outside. So he may not come every day when he has running practice, especially now since he's had that summer feel and he's got his competition in him of it. But he's just a great kid that just found his niche, and might have been just running out of the club with us, actually, running races in the grass in the big field we have. But yeah, I would love the community to see the Boys and Girls Club, see it firsthand, because once you see it firsthand, then you know what every dollar goes to and how we can stretch those dollars to serve more kids.
So where's the West Monroe unit located?
It's at 500 Evergreen Street,
Okay.
which is in the Balkanville area, so it's off of Smith Street. And then Monroe, of course, is Powell Avenue Recreation Center. And Bastrop is at the St. John Missionary Baptist Church, their gymnasium, which is right as you're driving into Bastrop on the left. But the Evergreen unit is, like, we're open Monday through Friday, 11 to 6:45 is when people, club workers are there. The kids, of course, will be there about 2:50, 3 o'clock till 6:45. But, yeah, love for the community to see it in place, because once you see it, it makes more sense on donating to it. Having that one-on-one interaction, or even just not even interacting, just seeing the kids running around like crazy. If they're in the computer lab, if they're in the game room, in the gym, and then seeing the structure that our employees put and have those kids following. Because I know me, structure growing up definitely helps make me who I was.
Sure.
And so they have that when they're there. And it's a happy place, and it's a safe place for them.
I was going to ask you, you mentioned safe a couple of times, and I know you're referring to, the different areas of our community. Some are perceived to be more safe than others.
Right.
I think every community probably would be able to use those terms. But when we talk about safety that you guys offer, not just from the community, what type of things do y'all implement to ensure that the kids are safe when they're with you guys? Because I know as a parent, that would be important to me.
Right. So our entry, we actually only have one entry point into the club. It is password coded. So every person that walks into the club has to be buzzed in if they don't have if they don't work there, because the only people that have it are the ones that work there. The kids, as they come in off the bus, they sign in. They have a number. And it's their number for the entire duration that they're club kid is what we call them. So they sign in, so we know who's there. So then at the end of the day, because every person that leaves has to be signed out. So their parents have to come in, they have to be buzzed in, they have to sign their child out. So then you know who was here, who came in and who left. And they can only be signed out by people we have already authorized on their registration form, so their application each year.
Okay.
Each room has an assigned worker to it. So the games room, the arts and crafts room, they have an adult in there, basically, with the kids. The kids rotate to those different areas throughout the day. So that person that's over that room stays in the same place. So Miss Alex is in charge of arts and crafts. She's the expert there.
She's the constant that's going to be
She's
there.
the constant that's there. Miss Pam is in the games room, so she's coming up with the new stuff for helping the kids get set up and stuff like that. So there's always an adult supervision in place. In the gym, if they're playing in the gym, there's always going to be more than one adult in the gym because, of course, kids are running all over the place. We also have cameras throughout. So if there is an issue, we can roll the cameras back and watch, because the cameras cover everywhere. We have them on the pool, we have them the outside of the buildings and the insides.
And as far as vetting people that work there, is there much that goes into that?
100% everyone is a background checked. All of our volunteers have to go through a background check as well. We also make our community aware of some in the neighborhoods of where our clubs are that they need to be aware of.
Sure.
Based on public notifications. But yeah, everyone that works with us has a full, thorough background check done each program. So that means if they're starting each school year, they're having a new updated check done. And then any group that volunteers with us, they have to submit the list of people volunteering with us. And then those people also have a background check process for them.
Well, I mean, that's great that you guys put all of that into it. I'm going to back up a little bit, and you just hit on again the swimming pool. So West Monroe is the only one that has a swimming pool. So is that just utilized only during the summertime?
Yes.
How many kids do you feel like did not know how to swim, but now they do? And that's, I think for a lot of people, we kind of take that for granted, but that's, my childhood was based on doing a lot of swimming. I was fortunate enough that we had a pool when I was a kid that I got to do a lot of playing in. My mom taught a lot of kids how to swim. But we kind of take for granted that there's a lot of people that don't know how to swim.
Right.
And so do y'all have opportunities to be able to teach the kids during the summertime how to swim?
We don't have official swimming lessons. So it is only during the summer that the pool is open. And that's basically because of having lifeguards on point the whole time. We actually provide the lifeguard training for our employees.
Okay.
So it may be someone that's been an after-school employee with us who they decide they want to be a lifeguard during the summer for us. And so they will go through the Red Cross training as a lifeguard training. It's an intensive 4-day, I think it was this year, all day long training for those kids to be lifeguards. I say they're young adults. And we don't offer official swimming lessons. We have plenty of flotation advices. They are there. The unit directors will swim with them, the ones that are assigned to their group, because they swim by their age group. So it's not like a big, everybody jumps in at one time. They are on a schedule, and then they have to get out and get changed and stuff, because we do have dressing rooms there at the club for them. But they'll get in and they'll do some unofficial swimming lessons for those that have a little bit more trouble.
But how popular is that pool during
that
the
pool
summer?
Is 100% the most popular thing during the summertime with us. We didn't get it going right at the beginning of this year, because it took a little bit longer to get the lifeguard training scheduled, and you could see the kids' anticipation in, when are we going to swim? They were asking every day, are we going to swim tomorrow?
Wow.
But it is definitely the highlight.
Well, Amy, I really appreciate you taking time to come in and talk to us today about it. And I think it's a fantastic idea to be able to get the community to come out. So maybe we ought to work together to have an open house or something.
Most definitely.
Because I've never been. I've probably passed by it before and not really given it much thought. But to know that we have a safe learning environment where kids can have fun after school, and even during the summertime, have an affordable option for childcare for the summer, that the kid is just not going to be stuck in front of their phone or a gaming console the whole entire day. That there's enrichment that happens, there's conversation, there's relationships that get built, and I believe that we are losing the art of some of our soft skills as we raise our youth up. But just be able to have a sense of community, I think, is really important in the development of a young girl, young boy coming up into their life. So Thank you guys for what you do for our community, and I look forward to learning more about what the Boys and Girls Club offer Northeast Louisiana.
Thank you, Brian, so much for having me and letting me share what a great place the Boys and Girls Club is.
Thank you for taking the time to watch or listen to this podcast. We really appreciate your involvement. Please leave us a comment, or even better yet, subscribe to this podcast and hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted for every new episode when it hits.